Is there a jingle button?
We've got the Rode Pro. What's it called? The Rodecaster Pro, the new podcast desk, and it does have its own jingle button. And welcome to this week's INGAF podcast.
Pete's podcast.
Not Pete's podcast. Coming up in this week's show, we look at what's new here at INGAF Studios.
Oh, I thought it was about me.
This show is definitely not about Pete in any way, shape or form, but this jingle does make it sound super hardcore radio 2001.
Did you put this tune in?
No, this came with the Rodecaster Pro.
Oh, great.
So coming up in this week's show, we look at what's new at INGAF. We have our latest reviews, the Rode Wireless Go 2, the Lytra Studio,
this wasn't
and some
what
new
I signed
transition
up for.
packs coming from INGAF. We also look at this week's world of camera news. That's right. What's new from Sigma? What's new from Canon? What's new from Nikon?
How long's this song going to go on for?
And for the last 12 seconds, Pete's going to sing us his favourite song.
I thought it was my show. It's not my show. Let's go.
As much as I hate that generic intro, I think it's going to stay for every episode from now on.
Well, I don't think it should.
So yes, if you're new here, we're coming in your ears with the INGAF podcast.
It's a very interesting format. I feel slightly misled, though. I thought it was going to be a show where I got to talk for the first time like I had a radio station. Everyone's got a podcast. I was going to have my very own. And
no, it was the only way I could actually get you to sit down in the same room as me, is to tell you it was about you, because it is all about you.
Well, after hearing the first... Is it a jingle?
That's a jingle.
Yeah, I see there's other buttons there.
Yeah, do you want to try them? This is a brand new desk. We've never used it before.
I'd like to, yeah.
Come on, let's press number 2.
Okay, and coming in your ears now from Pete's radio show, we've got something really special to this beat. Oh.
Generic laughter. It's only second in funny to the Wilhelm scream, which I am going to program into every other button.
They basically don't have jingles on every one.
No, just that one. But if you press that, it does go on for a whole minute. So let's maybe not do that.
Mm.
So what's new at INGAF? I can tell you one thing that's new.
Yes.
There's a video that I haven't got my hat on.
As well as this one?
No, just this one.
Okay, yeah.
I've not got my hat on.
After what seems like forever.
Do you think it's going to put people off?
The longest lockdown. I think everyone just was starting to shave their own heads.
Well, yeah, or do what I do and grow a mullet. That was quite good.
Yeah, it was looking horrific. You aged.
Did I?
It made you look like a sad old man.
Wow.
I don't know if this is relevant to
It's probably not.
this show, but it's what I now see as part Pete's experience, this show.
Right, so you're making it about you again.
And part your news.
The problem is, it was meant to be about the world of cameras and filmmaking, and so for people to get some light entertainment about that, but you've just made it about your experience in the world.
I think I can bring my own little bit to this.
Should we move on?
I would.
What's new? Apart from the fact that
AJ doesn't wear a cap anymore.
Well, no, I will keep wearing a cap. I think it's a bit of a trademark.
But maybe not with the headphones.
It was just uncomfortable.
I get it.
Yeah. And now people get to see my hair.
It's not that exciting.
Write in, or whatever you do on podcasts, to tell me what you think of my hair. So we've got a new camera.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Yes. Well, again, a bit like the misled podcast, there's a story behind this camera. So I'm just going to share that anyway.
What have we got?
It's the Lumix. Not the S1H, but the S1, kind of like the H.
Okay.
The story behind this beautiful Panasonic camera is that we once had one.
We had a S1H.
We had an S1H.
Yeah.
And then lockdown hit.
Yeah.
It was sent in by Panasonic for a review. It turned out to be one of the best experiences we had ever had.
Yeah.
Being big Canon fanboys.
It's weird, isn't it?
Never really crossed over to the dark side. Just played with Canon. This came along, or the big brother, the S1H, and was amazing.
Yeah, it totally changed my world, actually.
Yeah. And then we had it for way too long because of the lockdown, and it was all very new at the time. No one knew what was going on. 3 months later, they asked for it back. And then we were saddened by the loss. We bought another beast of a Panasonic camera.
Yeah, we invested in the EP1. For those filmmaking nerds out there, you'll know what that is. If you don't, it's a proper filmmaking camera. We use it for our commercial work that we do and don't tell you about. I
don't think anyone's that interested in how we make money.
No. There's some people. But really, they should probably get outside more. Yeah.
And then after the EVA, which was just as amazing as this in very different ways as well, AJ says to me one day, you realise the Panasonic S1 has a software update.
New firmware.
Which makes it as cool as the S1H. And my response at the time was, well, that's pretty cool, but they're not going to sell any S1Hs now. Because if you can buy the S1 and pretty much turn it into an S1H, why would you sell the more expensive?
Interesting enough, I've got a video coming up on just that. S1 versus S1H. Why would you buy the S1H in 2021?
And I hope you credit me for the idea for that video.
Oh, no, I don't.
Anyway, it then turned out to be a total scam. There was no coincidence in AJ telling me about it, because what he actually wanted to do is get my approval to go out and buy one.
With your credit card.
And I'm kind of okay with it, because it's so nice to have this back. It's a big, beefy camera.
Yeah, it's going to be the perfect B cam, the camera that we pick up to do B-roll, drop-in shots for our videos, and product photography and videography for any work.
But you were saying this one isn't Netflix approved, not like the S1.
No, it's not. There are some differences, some usability differences. It's not got the big red button that the S1H had. It doesn't have a front-facing screen, not that we ever particularly use one. And I don't understand why people would cry about that, because who's vlogging on an S1H? It's a $3,500 camera. Once you've done the firmware updates, there's a couple of small quality differences, very minor. And for the 1% of people that are going to need a Netflix-approved camera or doing production work with it, just buy the S1H, is my summary of the video. But for 99% of other people, it's going to be more than you'll ever need. And the 4K 60 from it, the Cinema 4K as well, was spectacular. And you can do that. You get Vlog, you can do 4K 60, as I said, 10-bit 422. It's incredible. We picked that up for £1,700 from London Camera Exchange. And they were doing a £300 cashback at the time. So it came out about 1,400 quid. It's about the same in dollars if you're in America. For that camera, that's an absolute steal.
It really is. There's one major inconvenience for us, and that's to go back to the C word, the C bomb.
Canon.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about lenses now.
Yeah, well, there's two things. You can't mention Canon without mentioning the frustrations that we've massively invested into them, and yet they're the only camera manufacturer who will not send us anything.
Yeah, I know we're small fry in the grand scheme of things, but we do have a fairly big publication online. We've got quite a big newsletter. There's some people that watch the videos. I don't understand why they won't. They offered me to rent cameras off them, which anyone can do.
It makes me think that maybe if I released a backpack, say the only backpack that you would ever need.
Version 2.
And then create a version 2 just to stay relevant and cool and to make more money, that maybe that would be the position I need to be in to get sent a camera with Canon. But anyway, moving on from my
distaste
for Canon, all of our lenses, the bulk of our lenses, are Canon lenses.
Even the Panasonic EVA film camera that we bought is an EF mount, so we can use all our Canon glass. That is a problem. There are some beautiful L mount lenses that you can get for it, but because we are cheapskates at heart, we bought the Sigma MC21 EF to L mount adapter.
And that made it all okay for me.
Yeah. It's
cheap, and you've solved the problem.
Solved the problem. Don't have to buy a whole new set of glass. And of course, as anyone that follows us knows, we've got kind of into vintage lenses, mainly due to Mark Holtz's videos.
Yeah.
We use them pretty much all the time, manual vintage lenses.
Which could have been really nasty as well, because when AJ gets into something, he gets really into it.
Hey, you don't have to bring that up.
When Mark Holtz brings up vintage lenses and sold you on that love, I thought it was going to be as dangerous as when you first started buying consoles and console games, which took over a whole room.
Yeah. There's close to 1,000 games next door.
The collection is obsessive. And it's not really changed with vintage lenses, but it's not as bad as 1,000.
No, it's not. And it's slower because I need to do more research.
And the cost is more.
And they cost loads more. Mark lied. They're not cheap.
No.
There's a couple of really cheap ones.
It starts cheap.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I get a Pentacon 50 for 20 quid. Sweet. I'll get the Helios for 50 quid. Great. Now they're like 300. Oh, what?
That's expensive.
Yeah. And then you get like Iron Glass who are adapting Helios 44-2s for £1,000.
And they look incredible.
They're totally worth it. So anyway,
that's another rabbit hole.
Yeah, our vintage lenses are mainly already adapted from M42 to EF. So it would have been another expense going through the whole thing, doing L mount again. So yeah, we got that. And
is this your format for the show where you talk about justifying new bits of equipment and how you scammed me into it?
Well, I mean, primarily because that actually is a really nice segue into what's AJ bought with Pete's credit card next.
Oh dear.
And it won't surprise you, it's something quite expensive.
Okay, have we got a button to kind of like drum roll?
Shall we try one of the other buttons?
Is there any?
Which button? Pick a number between 1 and 6.
5.
Let's find out what's on button 5.
Squeaky wheel.
Squeaky wheel, or it could be the moths leaving my wallet.
and Rode preload all of these.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's not an advert. We're not paid by Rode. These awesome sounds come free with a Rodecaster Pro. I just hope they're copyright free, because otherwise our podcast is fucked.
Oh god.
Anyway, yes, what have I got recently? Anyone that's seen videos on our channel will know it's the Rode Wireless Go 2.
Right, so what we've accidentally done there is really make it look like Rode are paying us.
Oh dear.
Rode, if you see this and feel bad for not paying us, we will accept payment.
Thanks very much, yes. So yeah, the Rode Wireless Go 2, which is like 300 quid, $300, whatever, for a 2-channel wireless lavalier set. It's phenomenal and infinitely better than all the cheap stuff that you buy.
I recently started a video, which we haven't put out yet, for a comparable mic, hoping that I could kick your butt on that.
Oh, what is it?
So it's a competitor which looks very similar.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to destroy it yet by naming it.
Oh, you're going to keep it secret. This is hype.
I think I should just because it's probably going to be a few weeks off before it hits the channel.
Yeah.
It's £80 cheaper.
Okay.
It's still 3 units, a transmitter, two transmitters, 1 receiver.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the recording option.
That is
so you are relying on the preamp. And unfortunately you win. So to spoiler alert the video.
I've started putting at the start of my videos like a TLDR part, like too long, don't read what I think. And it's like, this is really good, or don't bother, it's not as good. So your TLDR version is...
God damn it, I hate it when AJ wins. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Save up, pay £80 more.
Yeah.
Again, Rode, if you feel bad, this is another moment where you could pay us.
Oh,
Rode nailed it.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, as much as we joke about the you're cheap, I'm expensive thing, I do often like to find like hidden gems and bargains as well. And it kind of annoys me when the brand is the best version. Yeah, and there's no way
obvious. There's no way that should be the case. I always think if you look at the industry of tech and then you apply it to any other mass-produced industry, let's take Rich Tea biscuits.
Good example.
Okay, you've got a leading brand, McVitie's Rich Tea, but
to the American audience, this means nothing. Do they have rich teas?
They're not big tea drinkers, I think, compared to us. Okay, another comparable. Cookies. No, let's stick with. Okay, so you've got this fantastic brand, established brand that makes a really good biscuit.
Yeah, cookie.
But that plant and all the staff have to be working all the time. They can't just focus on that one. So for certain they make for other labels, own brands, and they just package it up in that, and that goes off to the supermarket. And it's cheaper, but it's maybe got slightly cheaper ingredients.
Little bits of fly.
No, I don't think it goes that bad, but I think, they've saved a little.
Yeah.
They've saved a little where they can to reduce the price.
Yeah.
Maybe the packaging is a little bit crapper.
Right, yeah.
But on the whole, it's kind of the same. It tastes kind of the same. Now look at cameras.
Yeah.
Surely,
I'm glad you brought it back.
Surely there's so much in where chips are made, where components are made. There's a huge amount of crossover. That makes me think that somewhere out there is a comparable product that I can get a bargain on.
Yeah.
And it's just the outer shell that's misleading.
Well, again, anyone that watches our channel will know that I think it was a couple of videos ago was the Lav Mic Shootout, where I looked at the Rode Wireless Go and 2 copycats. Not the one that you're reviewing, different brands again. It was the Synco and the Photoval.
Yeah.
And I went into that with that same kind of impression that Chinese manufacturers are so good at copying, and quite often are probably the place where the things are originally made anyway, that there's not going to be a huge difference.
That's right.
The 2 cheap brands were almost identical with each other. They looked different in form, but sound was pretty much identical. The Rode one was just about twice as good.
Yeah.
Which again disappointed me, because I got to the end of it and I was like, the obvious is true. The expensive one's the best one.
And in their biscuit factory, they don't make for anyone else.
They've got a closed door to their biscuit factory.
That's what's going on.
There you go. You only heard it here.
It's disappointing if that's true.
That's a amazing exclusive.
I won't allow it to stop me in my search.
Do you want to talk about the Lytra Studio?
No, AJ. And you know full well why I don't.
Why not?
Because it was me that established a relationship with Lytra.
Yeah. You were speaking to them on Instagram as well?
They loved me.
They did? They loved your video?
You took it upon yourself to interrupt my video by chucking it into water.
That was good.
And then when Lytra said, great video, we love you guys.
Yeah. I don't know if they said we love you guys.
Yeah, it's probably, we love you, Pete, and we appreciate your opinion.
Less likely that as well.
It doesn't matter, the technicalities of it.
Yeah.
They basically liked what we did.
Yes.
And sent out the big bad boy.
But they said specifically, Pete's not allowed to touch this one. It has to be AJ that reviews it.
You haven't evidenced that from
bigger, better. Well, it's bigger, better, more expensive. So clearly it was for me, not you.
Regardless, you reviewed it, and I can confirm it's entirely waterproof.
Yeah, you did. But the payback there was that because it's so much bigger, it's got a 9,000 milliamp hour battery.
Yeah, I didn't think about
it. It weighs about 2 kilos. So you dropped it in a bucket of water and it came back out of the tank like a tsunami.
Me. Yeah. And fortunately, I was sat down, and where most of the splash was in the groin area.
So you can confirm the Lytra Studio will make it look like you wet yourself,
which is an added benefit. Yeah. So
filmmakers,
the brand that keeps on giving.
It's a great light. Both of them are great. I would say I love the RGB features of the Studio. I love the fact that it's you can put the honeycomb filter and stuff on it, and the barn doors. It's more of a studio light, hence the name. But I still think those little Lytra Pros and the cubes and stuff, I still think there's something better about them, something a bit more different about them, and I like them more for that.
For me, I just love the man toy aspect of them.
Oh,
they totally different to all the practical lights we have for normal filming and C-stand lamps. And totally different to that. They are gadgets. And I love them for... If you're carrying something like the Lytra light, you will use it. Because there's always somewhere in the background of a shot that would benefit from that extra bit of light.
We were filming some interviews the other day, and I used it because it was to hand. I wanted a coloured hair light, so literally just put it on a shelf behind someone, hidden behind them. And if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have used it. And it made the shot just that 1-2% better.
Yeah. Can we take that as a quote and maybe put it in one of the blog posts?
Wow.
AJ said, if he didn't have it, he wouldn't have used it.
And other obvious statements.
Maybe Lytra want to put that on the box.
Lytra, if you're watching or listening, you're more than welcome to use my quotes.
They won't.
I only want a small payment. £5. Settle on £1. 50.
I just give up on that.
Okay.
So what you're doing here, it sounds like a chance to promote all of your upcoming videos.
Yes, and previous videos. But talking of promotion,
right?
This is totally unpromoted.
Okay.
Do you like the lights, the tubes?
It's quite an impressive.
I might actually do, or get you, or together do a video on these, because everyone talks about these really expensive patho tubes.
Yeah,
like £1,000 each.
Yeah.
RGB tube lights.
You spent £1,000
I didn't spend anything.
each.
I didn't spend anything.
Yeah, you're worrying me now. How much?
Yeah, they're like £1,000 each. But don't worry,
Well, I kind of am worried.
they weren't £1,000 each.
Right, which is good news.
Yeah. I won't tell you how much they were now,
Right,
because maybe we'll do a video on them. But they were considerably less.
right. So this is kind of an issue for me.
You got scared.
Well, I'm still a little bit sweaty palms.
How is that overdraft?
What I can't help but think about is sometimes when there's big packages,
Yes.
like when the lights turn up, that maybe they've been sent to us for a review.
Sometimes I've just bought them.
And that terrifies me.
And I never tell you which is which.
No,
Yeah,
no.
so you
And I
won't ever
don't
know.
expect you, like me, to find the cheapest option.
No.
And that terrifies me.
And hence we have the Panasonic Lumix S1. Did we need it?
That is acceptable.
Okay.
That's a good middle ground.
At least I know where the line is.
The guilty secret is I kind of allow you to think that you love that more than I do.
Oh, so you're
Which
deflecting.
is like, oh, okay, AJ, if it makes you happy, I low-key love it.
If we're going to use it, if you're sure we'll use it.
How much are the lenses going to be? Oh, don't worry, Pete. I can get a plate for it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You sure about that?
so we can use our EF mount lenses. Yeah. Phew.
Well, finally in the world of INGAF, there'll be a new transition pack. Probably Friday. I've got to make it yet, and it's Thursday today.
And there's a long weekend coming up, so
maybe after that.
I'd make it next week. We've got a lot of things to do.
Next week there'll be a new transition pack.
There you go.
Wow.
Decided on the fly.
Thanks very much for that.
Or you put this out and you say later this week there'll be a new transitions pack, and they'll disregard the.
I didn't say what Thursday. This could be any Thursday. They could be listening to this in the future.
Do you know what? Just look online. He may well have done it by now.
Yeah. And if you're disappointed, there's already some transition packs.
You haven't specified which one.
Yeah.
So they'll be looking at one of them and going, oh, it's free. I like free stuff.
Everything we release is free. Mainly because no one will pay for it.
It's a ridiculous model, but you do trade your email address.
Yeah, I will email you afterwards with INGAF spam. But full disclosure, that will be full of more free stuff when I do giveaways of Pete's stuff and more free stuff.
It's a ridiculous business model.
There is no business.
That's not
Just a
quite true.
model.
Every now and then we may direct you
Yeah.
to an affiliate link if you like the stuff we've talked about in another video.
But here's a promise. I will only ever direct you to affiliate links when the item has been reduced. No full price stuff. Because anyone can find full
I
price
kind
stuff.
of like that, but it's
Yeah.
not a very good business model.
It's a crap business model. We'll never make any money from this.
Which is just as well we've got client work.
But what I really enjoy about it is that there's huge creators making LUTs and transitions and stuff and selling them for a fortune
Yeah.
to cheap, poor filmmakers
Yeah.
who can't afford it, and they're millionaires.
Yeah,
So I like disrupting the fuck out of that.
Yeah, this is kind of payback.
Yeah. So
we're the guys that struggled along and bought your stuff and then realised actually it was crap.
yeah, I could make that myself. Why have I paid 30 quid for that? It's ridiculous.
I thought yours would be loads better than mine.
Yeah, and I realised mine's all right.
Yeah.
So why not make mine for free and give it to other people? Take the money away from the people that don't need the money
As long
and
as you
give
do-
it to the people that do need it.
Oh, this is like your version of what we do.
Well, I would like to think of us as the Robin Hood of filmmakers.
That'd be great.
You're Maid Marian.
Oh, come off it. You know what?
What?
I knew it as soon as you said that.
Yeah.
There's no way I was going to be Robin Hood.
No way.
It was either Friar Tuck or Maid Marian.
I avoided the obvious. I wasn't going to go Friar Tuck.
Yeah.
Because they're like sidekicks, aren't they? It's like, no way you're Maid Marian
Right.
in the Disney version.
Well, at least in the Disney version, Maid Marian doesn't get screwed.
That is true. That's true. Yeah, no one gets screwed in the Disney version. Anyway.
You done enough of your plugs yet? Because I feel like I turned up for one thing.
Yeah.
Where we talk about me.
Yeah, we're never going to do that. You know that. We're never going to just
It would have
talk
been
about
nice just to demo the new podcast studio.
No.
And go, oh, well, what's it we're going to do?
No.
We'll make it up on the go.
you. No, you'll just make it up.
No, it's an opportunity for AJ to talk about everything INGAF.
I said to you, we'll just make it up, just test it. And then I open the laptop and there's loads of notes in front of me. And you're like, oh, you've prepared stuff.
Yeah, I haven't prepared anything.
That's fine, it's better that way.
And I still haven't learnt what all the buttons do.
Before we move on to the next section, do you want to press
if we get a
button?
copyright strike for hitting these buttons.
It'd be amazing. Pick a number between 1 and 6.
Okay, it's going to be 6, isn't it?
6, you sure?
Yeah, go on.
Sure? You get to change your mind?
Slightly pink, so I'm imagining... It's hard now. It's hard. It's 50-50 chance. It could be a sound effect.
Yeah.
It could be a jingle.
Yeah.
I'm going to say...
Jingle.
It's a sound effect. No, because we started off... Oh, no, saying that. Number 2 was a clap.
Yeah, we've had clap. And
Okay, go on. I'm going to stick with jingle.
You've just changed your mind. Stick
I?
with changing your mind.
No, I'll stick with a sound effect.
Okay. Oh, it's for Maid Marian. It's the Maid Marian sound.
That's ridiculous.
That's
when are we
never
ever going to
changing.
use that? What other podcast has a segment about...
Harps.
And remember, people, wash those hands.
Hands that do dishes are so soft and so clean. Mildly very liquid.
Again, the American audience that
No idea.
our fan base will have no clue about that TV advert.
Why is that little girl singing? So,
Yes.
my favourite part of preparing for this was looking at the ridiculous camera news.
I do like stalking camera news.
Yeah. This is where we end up buying the Panasonic S1 because there's a new firmware update for it.
Yes. Yeah.
And first in the camera news is Sigma news.
Sigma news is... It's one of those confusing types of news for me.
Yeah.
I quite often like it.
Yes.
But every now and then, I just go, really?
Why?
Their camera.
Sigma FP.
Yeah. I really want to love it.
Yeah.
Too much money.
Fair point. Yeah.
It's Sigma. So in my head,
Yeah.
I love you.
Yes.
Because you're the cheaper offering than the Canon version.
Yeah. And often better.
Yeah. I love you.
Yeah.
I've tried your art lenses.
Yeah. Oh, I love them.
I really love you.
Send us some more.
But then they release a camera and they make it too expensive. And I go, oh, Sigma, come on.
Because we reviewed it and we got
Yeah.
to test it. We had a good 2 weeks with it. And I loved it. I genuinely loved it. You loved it. It felt like the modern version of the pocket cinema camera. Like an actual, not like what Blackmagic have done now, which is just release a hybrid camera that's huge. An actual pocket cinema camera. But yeah, you'd have to fully rig it out. And once you've done that, you're looking at like a $4 or $5 grand rig.
Yeah. And I guess the art lenses kind of say, look, they're a company that started off making cheaper alternatives. There's still an aspect of that. And making things like, this for the Panasonic, I should say, the plate.
Yes, the adapter, yeah.
But they've definitely gone into, from the moment where they did things like the art lens, they're definitely now one of the big boys.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And they released this isn't Sigma news, but obviously they released the updated version of the FP, the FPL, a few weeks ago. We're still yet to get one. It shows me that we're bottom of quite a big list.
Yeah, our place in influencers.
The lack of.
Yeah, but so how we're looked at as influencers and priority for press release is, are you a journalist? No. But we do have an online publication that probably gets more traffic than the ones that you consider to be publishers.
Yeah. That's a good plug there, 120fps.co.uk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And we're not influencers,
No.
or at least that's not our intention to influence anything.
What are we then? We're the Robin Hood of filmmaking. Really? I didn't realise.
With AJ, meet Marion.
We will save you money, yeah. Shake the tree. The money tree. Sorry.
And my frustration with not being an influencer is if that's what everyone wants to be called in this space, they're not like just online reviewers. Then I want to get stuff at the same time that everyone else gets it for the embargo.
Yeah,
can I get it 2 months before release, and I'll have it for a week or whatever, send it back, next influencer gets it, and everyone can talk about it at the same time. No, you can't.
No. Are you Peter McKinnon? No.
Oh.
Do you have your own backpack?
No.
Do you have a version 2 of the only backpack you'll ever need?
Oh, no.
You can't have the camera.
But what if I sign?
Get back in the box, little man.
Oh,
and the other thing as well, are you from Canada?
Do you know what? I saw a Canadian goose the other day. That's as close to
amazing.
Canadian as I get.
Yeah. We've got some really good Canadian friends and supporters. I'd call them friends now.
Right.
So it's not a slant at them. But it does seem to be...
they're more my friends than yours.
Well, I'd say they talk to me more. We'll see. But it does seem to be that this whole camera landscape is dominated by Toronto.
Yeah, if you want to be really cool in the camera world, be Canadian.
Canadian. What's it all about? Is that how they talk?
I think so, something like that, isn't it?
Write in and tell us if I got it right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sigma news.
Sorry, I took you off track.
That's fine. They have just released a new 35mm f1.4.
First off, is it good?
Well, here's the thing. If you rack your memory, we reviewed a new 35mm art lens from Sigma.
Did I say it was good?
Yes, it was amazing.
Oh, I thought that was the applause. They laughed.
Last year, they released... All right. There we go. It stops when you press it again. Just learned something. The 35mm f1.2 art lens we reviewed last year when it was released. They've just released the f1.4 art lens. It's half the price of the faster one.
Right.
And probably...
I already like it more.
Well, I thought you would. It's half the price and not as good.
The not as good bit, is it half not as good?
No, it's almost as good.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I would say it's on the price and quality scales, it's definitely a bargain.
Right.
It's still like $800 dollars, whatever.
Are they going to send it to us?
If I ask them really nicely.
Can you ask them really
in which
nicely?
voice? The deep voice?
No, because that might gross them out.
Hi, Sigma. Can you send me... No, I can't do it.
No, that's just weird.
Yeah, Sigma. Please send us the new...
Look them in the eye.
Hi, Sigma. AJ here, your favourite camera reviewer. Definitely favourite. I promise, if you send us the Sigma 35mm f1.4 art lens with your new camera at the same time, why not, that Pete won't touch it.
You're going to put a disclaimer in there, he might, and that's okay.
You definitely won't, though.
No.
You won't be allowed to. They've re-released a lens, not quite as good, but a lot cheaper than the one they released last year.
I can settle with that. I can settle with that because Sigma, when they make stuff cheaper, tend to still make pretty good.
It's still an art lens. It's still going to be premium. It's still going to be beautiful bokeh, really sharp.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to play with it.
Oh, okay. And that's his signal to move on.
Well, I want them to send it to us.
Which button? We haven't done number 4 yet.
4.
This one? Yeah. Brilliant.
Oh, that's a classic.
A classic drum roll, please. This is... can I tell you a joke?
Yes, go on then.
2 drums and a cymbal fall into a hole.
That's terrible. Did you just make that up just there and then?
It's amazing because there's 2 drums and a cymbal, isn't it?
Yeah, I see what you did.
Like they've fallen into a hole.
Yeah, I see what you did. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you got it.
Oh no, it feels. The thing is, everyone's seen it now.
All right.
I would use that.
You would.
I would, but I can't because now everyone that's seen the video or heard the podcast is ruined.
You might be in luck next episode because there might not be carryover listeners after this.
Well, yeah, I might do that.
You might be able to bust it out. So, Pete, did you know there's a new 8K Micro Four Thirds camera on the market?
No.
Ah.
Is that the right answer?
And it's from a manufacturer that you've never heard of.
Right, then I probably definitely didn't.
Definitely, no.
Yeah.
It's from a company called Astro Design. They don't make space stuff.
No, I've never heard of them.
They've released the camera called the Bosma G1, which is an 8K Micro Four Thirds camera. It can record 10-bit 8K footage at up to 30 frames per second, or 10-bit 4K footage at up to 60. And it's got the same shape as, have you seen the Z cams? They're like the box.
Yeah.
Or a Lumix released one as well, the BGH1. It's just a box, no monitor.
Yeah.
So it's just a sensor in a box, really. It's got that design.
Okay. Really tricky. Are we going to play the price game?
There isn't a price yet.
Oh, see, that killed the fun.
Sorry. But there's the price game coming up, don't worry.
Okay. I was just going 8K.
Yeah.
Sensor.
The rumours are that it has the same sensor that we saw in the Sharp 8K Micro Four Thirds camera that was demoed about 18 months ago and never got released.
Don't you think that's a bit weird?
Yeah. It sounds like Sharp didn't manufacture it because there was no market for it.
Yeah.
And this company have just bought the design off them.
It'll be fine. We'll
do it. It'll be better.
Yeah, but what are we gonna call ourselves, Dave? We're not Sharp.
Astro Design. Reach for the stars.
Dave, that's genius.
I know.
I think it could work.
Yeah.
With a name that strong,
Yeah.
we can charge decent money for this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll call it the Bosma G1. I don't know what Bosma means.
Maybe they'll change that bit before they release it.
They better. Yeah. It's not going to look good on a box.
No. It's calling it something like the G1 at the end. I can see why that works.
Yeah.
It's been done before,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So that's that then. Basically, that Sharp 8K camera is going to get released just in a different body.
And a different name.
Yeah. Not that exciting, really. I'll be honest, apart from the original Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, I don't like Micro Four Thirds at all.
I don't know. You shouldn't really say that. Not on the podcast because someone might want to send us something, and I always like playing with stuff.
Olympus.
Especially
they've got a new camera coming out at some point soon.
We don't have to pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm quite a big fan of Micro Four Thirds. It's a whole creative challenge all of its own.
Yeah. And I still get to play with it. They'll probably say you can't touch it because of your nasty comment just then.
Oh, dear. Canon news. No news section is complete without Canon.
But if we ever mention Canon, we should have a golden rule
of pressing this button. That's so good.
What was that? Some Hitchcock?
That was, I mean, we still don't know what's behind these buttons, but that was infinitely better than if I had planned it.
I think every week.
I'll change
Are these weekly?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
yeah.
Every show.
Every
show we should just change because it's ruined now. There's only 8 buttons. I feel like we've pretty much covered them all.
What's that button? Oh, Moths. Moths, Maid Marian, Twilight Zone, 2 drums and a cymbal. You can press them together.
Oh. That's great. Okay, so
anyway, yes.
Every time we now talk about Canon segment, we introduce it with this. Next up, Canon news.
And we'll do this spooky supernatural shit until Canon actually send us a camera.
That's great.
Because until then, I'm just going to slate them. And I'm going to stop using their... I'm not. We're filming this with the Canon camera.
I know, but it sounds good.
Yeah.
And it might bring them to action. So
empty threats.
Just pretend.
Yeah.
Pretend.
So...
what's going to happen? I'm going to...
Guys, you're going to be up. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yes. So, the Canon EOS R3 has been announced by Canon themselves, getting ahead of the rumour game.
Oh.
Yeah. It's their new flagship hybrid body.
Of course.
Yep. So it's going to be top of the range. It will replace the 1DX Mark III, which is their flagship photography camera at the moment.
Yeah.
Mainly for journalists, sports photographers. It does fast burst modes. There's some YouTubers that use it that are too rich that have got their own camera bags.
Oh, that's weird.
A ridiculously expensive camera that only a professional would use for professional work, not YouTube.
Very strange.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, they're releasing that. It's going to have 30 frames per second burst mode for photos, which is obviously for sports and wildlife. Maybe
You would hope.
it is pretty much a 1DX Mark III in a mirrorless body with the new RF lenses.
Okay, I think Canon would say you're underselling it.
I am underselling it massively. 8K video. There's talk of this cool autofocus feature where, you know, currently the dual pixel autofocus, if you use the touch screen, you can track around on the screen and select different things to be in focus.
Really love it, yeah.
Touch focus. They've got eye focus, and that's not like it tracks eyes, because it will do that. But if you have an eye focus and you're watching through the viewfinder, it'll track where your eye is looking in the frame and focus at that point.
My God. That's ridiculous.
That's pretty cool.
That's pushing the boundaries.
Yeah. And when you think about who that's not for video, that'd be a nightmare. But for photography, for sports, imagine like a Formula One and you can track a car through a frame, or football, let's say.
I love the Formula One example.
Only because we want to go Formula One. If you're listening, please let us go.
I'd love a pit lane pass.
That would be great. Okay, so you like the price game. Let's play.
No.
What is the price, rumoured to be, of the flagship Canon camera? Bear in mind, it's a camera.
Yeah, I know, but this is a really tough one, though.
Yeah, it's a camera. I'll give you a clue. The 1DX Mark III was £6,000.
Oh God, so it's so much more than what I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking it was going to be like 3.8, something like that.
Yes, it's double that.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's going to be close to £7,000 when it's out. For a camera. Not a film camera. So I'm not talking about like a red Monstro or something ridiculous. We're talking about a photography camera.
And when you say ridiculous, just in case Red are listening.
Your cameras aren't ridiculous, I love you.
Ridiculous in a good way.
Yeah. Oh, good ridiculous. You know, if you look on the dictionary, there's ridiculous, and then they do like the brackets thing.
Like Red.
Good ridiculous, like red.
Yeah.
Is one description.
Yeah.
$6,500 to £7,000. What's your...
I'm fed up of talking about it.
I'm more likely to
what?
buy the fucking AirPod tag things, ridiculous tracking devices for your keys.
Yeah.
For £100 or whatever they are.
Four for £100. Thanks,
Who's got
Apple.
4 keys to track? What are you doing?
And it's not even what I thought they were going to be.
No.
I thought it was going to be something you could throw in the handbag of your missus and you could see what she was up to while
This
she
took a
was
dark
having
turn.
an affair.
What? You
But
wanted
no,
to track your girlfriend.
Well, that's what I thought. Do you know what? People are going to be queuing up for these because they'll go, do you know what?
Yeah.
I think she's up to no good.
Oh, right.
Or I think he's up to no good.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
not
can
that,
imagine the
no.
girls getting together going, do you know what?
Yeah.
I found that if you get these air tags,
That's not what they're called.
I think so.
Okay.
Apple have just released them for $100.
Wow.
4 of them?
Well, there's 4 of us. It's
Oh my
25
God,
each.
We'll get one each.
Mm.
Shove one of those. Put it in his. Where
are you putting it?
In his coat.
Oh,
Put it in his coat.
Okay.
Find out what he's been up to. But they don't even work for that because Apple have already thought about it. There's going to be some bunny boiler psychotic woman out there.
Wow.
They're going to try and track down their
Yeah,
husband.
yeah.
And what it does, if you've got like it doesn't even matter actually because it even works on Android. If you've got your mobile phone with you,
Yeah.
and this AirTag thing is nearby,
Yeah.
it will say, you seem to be moving along with an AirTag.
Right.
So then it makes you go, oh, yeah, but... And you're immediately going, yeah, but what if you're all on the train together?
Yeah.
It's not following me. They've got it on their keys in their handbag.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because they're with their mobile phone. So the tag knows it's not being tracking someone else. It's when, say, like we get a lift to work together.
Yeah.
You leave your keys in my car. I've dropped you off. We were going to work together a minute ago. Anyway, I've decided I don't want to work with you anymore and I've carried on driving.
Wow, that's
but I've got
not
your
very fair.
keys in my car.
Why are you stealing my keys?
Well, my phone's just told me that I've got your keys in my car because it says an AirTag device is tracking your movements. And then I go, really?
So what's
I'll
the
find
point
keys.
of them?
They're for you to find your items. That's it. So
Right, okay.
what would you want to track? Because bear in mind, they're 25 quid.
So they're a key ring. £25 key ring.
Yeah.
They invented this in the 1980s. You whistled and it whistled back to you.
That's true.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Apple products. That's a different show entirely.
I took us down a weird route. That marks the end of Canon news.
Pete, this is my favourite section.
You've got a favourite section. It's the first podcast we've done, and already there's a favourite section.
When I wrote the notes list, I was like, this is going to be my favourite section ever.
Right, okay.
Do you know what it's called?
No.
It's called, do you remember Nikon?
Oh, what a great name.
Not that one.
Is there a tune for...
Hey, Pete.
Yeah?
Do you remember Nikon? Do you?
Yeah. They were the brand that when everyone started... when I started, let's go with that. When I started filming, I was Canon.
Yes.
And everyone else that had a camera had a DSLR camera and go, what are you filming? I'll be like, just stuff. What are you doing? I'm just taking photos.
Yes.
And then,
all right.
if you had Nikon, you were like a snob of a photographer that couldn't do video.
Okay.
So I remember Nikon.
The sad thing is that the brand hasn't really moved on from those days.
So if you have a Nikon, you're a snob of a photographer that can't really do video.
No, I wouldn't say the users are, because they are the most mobilized and angry users there are. And last time I did a video saying Nikon's going to die, they got really angry with me. So not the users, just the brand.
Yeah.
So do you remember Nikon?
Yeah.
The camera that all the Nikon users said is going to change the photo video hybrid world.
Yeah, what happened to that? Is that
the Z9?
Yeah.
No, it's still not released.
It's still not
No.
released.
No.
Do you remember Nikon?
Yeah.
Do you remember how they were really late to the video market?
Yeah, no. And that was the Remember Nikon section.
Oh, wow. That was brief.
And brutal.
And yet your favourite segment, maybe for the time period.
It might be because it's so short.
Fast moving.
Yeah, but also because, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Nikon. It's like the South Park member berries.
Remember Nikon?
Yeah, I remember.
I remember Nikon.
I remember Nikon.
And finally, talking about remembering.
All right.
Remember the Panasonic Gh6?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, the successor to the massively popular GH5 micro four thirds video camera that everyone loved. It was like the stealth. What do they call cars that are like don't look fast but are sleepers?
Ooh.
It was the sleeper of that video world.
Yeah.
The GH5, and the GH6 has long been the hyped up successor to it. Remember that? Yeah, it's still not out.
Oh.
Yeah, the rumours are ramping up though, especially after the firmware updates to the camera you've got in front of you from Panasonic, the S1. That's given us 6K video. So everyone's saying, well, the GH6 is going to give us 8K video. It's going to be 12-bit. Why not? But there's still no announcement from them.
Be cautious.
Micro four
when
thirds.
being harsh to Panasonic, be cautious, because I was the biggest Canon fanboy until my head turned. And it was like, your missus is fit.
Okay, yeah.
But look who's just walked in the door. Normally, wouldn't turn your head.
Yeah.
Now you're going, ooh.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I'm in danger.
Yeah.
I'm in danger. And so I used to low-key love Panasonic.
Yeah.
I now think Panasonic are on top of their game. I think they could run way ahead.
What's interesting is that we always say that, like, Canon fanboys, and we've only ever used Canon. The first camera that we bought as a company was Panasonic.
Yeah, true. Yeah. As a company,
the video camera.
Yeah,
Panasonic was the AC90 Classic. It's actually still on a shelf next door, and would probably still work.
Yeah, very true.
It's always been Panasonic that we go to when we're looking at big investments. Isn't that weird? Is that weird?
It is strange. It kind of makes me question whether I think I'm a Canon fanboy.
I think, or you want to be.
Yeah, it's true.
So my point with the GH6.
I feel like you've just disclosed that I've got daddy issues.
You do. You've got Panasonic issues. My point with the GH6. I'd like to think that it will happen, but I'm on the fence on will they keep investing into micro 4/3 format, that tiny sensor, when the S1 range has been so successful, full frame, so accessible. That camera, with the cashback, comes in at like 1,400 for that full frame mirrorless 6K video.
Huge value.
10-bit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. 12-bit if you record out with the HDMI. Why would you then spend the same kind of money on a micro 4/3 format?
Yeah. I kind of... You've got to say it as well, because just being real world and kind of going, it's only 1,400 quid. Appreciate not everyone's in the position to just drop 1,400 quid.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But realistically, there's not one retailer out there now that doesn't even have a 12-month interest-free finance plan. They all seem to have some, or I don't know, interest-free, but certainly low-interest finance plans on cameras like this, which means you can be jumping from filming with your mobile phone to putting your hands on a camera like this. And for us, that would have been a huge leap. You know, the amount of cameras that you climb up through, you're getting gradually better, going up to HD, or from DV tape to SD cards, and you miss out all of that. They probably don't even know what DV tape is. But
well, I mean, it was before my time, Pete. Now you're showing your age.
The reality is, you can get your hands on some cracking technology that makes everything so much easier for you. Okay, there's complications that you'll be throwing into it as well.
But the truth is as well, you wouldn't be looking at a camera of that ilk if you weren't serious. And when you're serious, then you're talking about that £1,000 to £2,000 price point for a decent new camera.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got that kind of money and you're serious, then the used market is a phenomenal place, and there is phenomenal options in that place, and that's only going to get better as these cameras move on to the next generation and these become used. Yeah,
that's very true.
So
very
hold
true.
on.
I know. I mean, London Camera Exchange, where we got this one from, even they do used cameras.
Yes,
I dare say it's still early days to see something like this coming from used market. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's the sort of thing that they've
there was a couple on there used, and I'll say their price, I think it was 1,200 used.
Oh, okay. So they're still strong.
They're holding a lot of value, yeah. But the point being, the micro 4/3 version can't be much cheaper than that, because of the type of camera we're talking about. The GH5 wasn't much cheaper than that when it came out. So GH6 is going to be the same kind of price.
Yeah.
So then you've got a choice. Do you go for like an S1 or an S5, which is the version below that, or the GH6? So you go full frame or micro 4/3. Well, who's choosing micro 4/3 as the optimal choice for video? You've got like 2.6 crop, is it 2.4 times crop? It's so punched in.
I was worried for a second there that you wanted me to identify exactly who it was.
Who is it? What are their names? Tell me where they live.
I'm being interrogated. I don't know, AJ. I don't know who it was.
No. Yes. So there's part of me that thinks that the GH6 might not even happen at all, and if it does, it might not be micro 4/3. Maybe.
Well, it's an interesting point. I don't know.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know.
And I guess on that I don't know, that kind of brings us nicely round to what I would call the end of the show.
Well, it's probably a good thing anyway. To be honest, it's been an enjoyable journey.
Thanks.
I was slightly misled into this journey.
You were.
It seems that you had notes for an entire show to plug to plug videos that we have coming up on YouTube.
Yeah.
To promote giving away free transitions packs that other people sell.
Yes.
And that we give.
Yes.
Bad business.
Yeah, so to give bad business advice, to direct you to watch bad videos that gives you bad filmmaking advice.
To talk about what's going on in camera news.
But usually the ridiculous bits.
Yeah. And brushed through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Glossed over.
Remember, Nikon was a 2-minute segment max?
It was great. It's the best part of the show, though.
Oh, okay.
So that's it. Same time next week?
I'm slightly relieved, if I'm honest. Yeah, maybe next week I could plug one of my upcoming videos.
No.
Talk about me getting hold of
Okay, so that's
Sigma.
it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you were. And we'll see you next time.
Have you got an outro?
Pete, can you do your... I really like your endings.
So that's it for this week's show. Make sure you tune in next week where we've got more things to promote. Some bad business by INGAF where we give things away in exchange for an email address. Remember, we may send you emails about other free things to come. And if you like watching your show, remember we're live on YouTube every week. That means you get to see my face with AJ's little round head. Until next time, goodbye, fans.
And that's goodbye from me. And it's goodbye from him.
Oh, that was unnecessary.
Thanks. Well, there's still 29 seconds left of the song.
Yeah.
And you've got a whole line about thumbs that you normally do.
Oh yes. So if you like listening to your content, you can do that. If you like watching your content, it's on YouTube. And if you like reading, remember to check out our blog. Remember, thumbs show love, so be careful where you stick them. That's all. Goodbye.
Timing is so good.